Hello, everybody. I am back with another one of my first impression type of videos. And this time I'm going to be talking about Stardew Valley. So, I just recently started playing this game, and I already have 60 plus hours with it. And that's with my other commitments of school, work, all that stuff. Basically, what brought my attention to it again, because I was generally aware of the game before, but I never really considered playing it. Because I just kind of saw it as another Animal Crossing. But I saw a TikTok about it, and it kinda just brought my attention back to it, and I was already on a streak of impulse buying and playing indie games. Like, I had, bought Cassette Beast after trying it on Game Pass, and same thing with Slay the Spire. I just bought those and play them, and I haven't been let down with this mindset yet, so I just decided to buy it and start playing it. So upon first booting up the game, I guess, I thought it was, kind of interesting. A little simple, like straight to the point story. Old grandpa giving you his farm, that kind of thing. And you just got to restore it. Like in a lot of these farm type games or whatever that I've been looking at now after playing Stardew, where you get passed down some kind of old family thing, you got to restore it. And when I was first started playing it, it was a little tedious at first, but not to the point where I didn't want to play because it still kind of had me hooked. And it took a little bit to get past all the beginner tutorial stuff. And once I finally got in control, I got that feeling that you get when you're playing an open world game and just everything opens up. And it, felt like I could really just do whatever I wanted. Obviously, there is like the kind of stress of like planting and stuff in season, but I'll get to that later. But once I got to that point, it was basically all over because I couldn't stop playing. I started watching videos, having the wiki open constantly. I even have a little section in my notes app where I just write down the stuff I want to get done for the season, checklists, all that kind of thing. So when it comes to gameplay, if you've ever played an Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon, Story of Seasons, Rune Factory, or anything like that, this is one of those. It's a farming sim with RPG elements. Maybe not so much Animal Crossing and Harvest Moon just because it has those RPG elements of fighting, but we'll get into that. But with that being said, there are five main things that the entire game revolves around, and that is cultivating crops and animals, foraging or gathering materials, mining, combat, and fishing. And like I said, all aspects of the game revolve around those things. The bulk of your money will come from farming and everything you get from that. But money alone can't help you. Money alone won't get you to progress very far in the game. You have to like be looking for things, gathering things, whatnot. And that's where all the other skills are pretty important. And with all these skills, you can also work on what's considered the story mode, which is the community center, or the Joja Mart thing, but that's like a separate path. But basically, the idea is that you collect items for specific like bundles where it's based off of a theme or something. You bring that over to the community center, and slowly but surely you restore it until it's finally fully restored. And finally, the last aspect of the game is relationships, which is actually pretty integral to progressing because some people, when you progress your relationship with them, they can like unlock certain things and they can also give you gifts, which are very useful. But outside of just friendship, there is marriage, which you have 12 options for. There's 6 bachelors and 6 bachelorettes. If you're going for bachelorettes, there's only one correct choice, but it's cool to experiment with the other ones too. And for the bachelors, there's a lot of weirdly old looking men. I mean, I know that's kind of a thing, but I don't know. But yeah, there's that too. When it comes to my personal experience, I've actually been having a lot of fun with the games. Usually in these types of games or, games where you're like kind of just doing stuff and making money, that kind of thing. I like getting to the point of automation as quickly as possible. And that's what I've kind of been doing with sprinklers, which water crops automatically in the morning. And that's been fun. But so far, my main consistent moneymaker has been animal products, which I'll harvest from the animals, which is eggs from the chickens, milk from the cows and goats, and wool from the sheeps and rabbits, I guess, which is kind of weird, but it's whatever. And then I'll usually turn those into artisan goods, which are basically just versions of the products that sell for a lot more. And once you get to a certain point in the game where you have the upgrade, I guess you could call it, that makes the price of artisan goods even higher by a percentage, then that's when things really start to kick up. Like right now, my main thing is I'll get the milk and eggs, turn it into cheese and mayo, and sell that. And I can get probably around 60,000 a day from all of that stuff. And I don't really sell it every day. I'll usually sell it in bulk at once because I like seeing the money just go to extreme numbers. But that's been a consistent thing that is especially good for winter when crops don't grow. When it comes to fishing, initially I didn't like it because I thought it was really complicated and weird. And it's also kind of funny because I didn't even realize what we were supposed to be looking at because I guess I was just blind to the bar on the left, which is what you're actually supposed to focus on and keep the fish inside of. For some reason, I thought it was the bar on the right, and I just was not thinking. But once I figured it out, got a little bit of practice, upgraded my fishing rod a little bit more, then it really started to become fun and extremely easy, and I got very good at it. So whenever there's fairs or anything, I'll usually do the fishing games and I can get a decent amount of tokens, stars, coins, whatever is the currency for the fair. For combat and mining, that's been pretty fun too. That was something I put a lot of work into early on, especially so I could get those iron and copper bars to make sprinklers and all that stuff. And it does get a lot better once you start upgrading your stuff. The only thing would be that I was kind of stuck in like not progressing, I guess, since I needed to unlock the desert and I didn't even realize how I was supposed to do that because I guess I'd never thought of unlocking it. But the reason that kind of stopped me was because iridium, which is the highest level of like upgrading your tools, can't be gotten from the regular cave. You have to get it from the cave at the desert. So for a while, I was just kind of stuck with gold and I couldn't make iridium sprinklers, which have the widest range. But as I start to progress, which right now I'm about 1 and 3/4. I have 1 and 3/4 years, I guess, of this playthrough. My first year, I spent just kind of figuring things out. But once I got into winter, I really had started to plan things out and figure out what I want to do. And I spent like the last days of winter really preparing for spring. And then when spring rolled around, I just got going. And I did that spring, summer, and fall. And I made a pretty decent amount of money. And I plan to spend the winter again just preparing, but also going to the desert cave so that next spring I can finally have iridium sprinklers and go from there. Though with all the rapid expansion, one thing I have found myself being, I guess, is low on resources like wood and stone, which are used for basically everything. So I'll have to figure out a system to, I guess, get a lot of that since I was getting a I was low on coal early on in my playthrough until I finally figured out, or I guess just found a bunch of it, and then that stopped being a problem. Now, I know 2025 just started, but this is for sure one of my favorite games of the year. I've heard about many other Stardew likes that have been coming out, and I might be trying those out once they come out on Switch, which is where I like to play most of my games, Switch or 3DS, because it's portable. But, you know, I will say before I was definitely not a farming sim person before, and I still kind of am an Animal Crossing hater, which I can be because I did try it for a little bit. But now I might be willing to give a chance to more of these games. This is definitely a game I would recommend to everyone. Whether you play games or not, you will find something to enjoy here for sure. Lots of people have posted videos of their parents and grandparents playing this game, and there's a reason for that. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like it, subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content, and comment if you have any comments. With that, though, I will see you all next time.